Good morning. Yes, I get the pleasure of talking about existential holidays. As a, frankly, backseat to the e-chorus, thank you, Jean, and the e-chorus, again, for such a beautiful presentation this morning. I wanted to say something that could highlight their offering today, and so I thought about existential holidays and how we each have the opportunity to sort of decide what a meaningful celebration is for us. And maybe not even a meaning celebration for us in life, but for this year, what's our place this year? What would be best for us this year? And I'm mostly going to talk about Christmas because that's my perspective, but I hope to make it wide enough that you could insert any other celebration that you might be centering instead, including Hanukkah, of course, or maybe even New Year's or just your birthday, anything like that. And so I was thinking about how I'm feeling about this Christmas season, this holiday season, and I think I'm having a little bit of a different experience this year than I usually do, and maybe every year is different, so that's something too. I mostly focus on this being the season of darkness, and so the light that the holidays bring, both in literal light with candles and Christmas lights and decorations, Hanukkah lights, of course, and also the light of spirit, right? What can we focus on that gets us through these darkest days? And this year, I think I maybe had an extra focus on that because unlike usually in my house, we're decorating on the 24th of December. This year, November 1st, I held off until November 1st. And so all the lights went right up and it really coincided with the time change, which was nice. I was like, oh, that even exchange felt really good. All these lights around the house as the darkness came to roost. And I was thinking about, what traditions are present in my life, and I didn't really grow up with a lot of traditions, and because of that, I started a tradition with my nieces and nephew, and when they were very little, got them each an advent calendar, and it looks like a Christmas tree. It's like fabric Christmas tree that they each have on the wall, and then it has these little 24 Velcro spots with these 24 little pockets. They're probably 2 inches by 3 inches. They're really tiny. And so most of my tradition now is getting that prepared for December 1st. So that's also really early. I kind of feel like I'm on the downhill of Christmas now. But some years I do a really good job of planning ahead with filling those little pockets, and some years I don't. And some years I get them mostly the same thing, and that has been historically knock-knock jokes and sometimes candy, though their parents are less thrilled about that option. Tiny trinkets, little stretchy reindeer, whatever. This year they have almost entirely different things. They're getting older and they have different interests. They all got Christmas socks and some candy. And then the 9-year-old boy has football cards in most of his pockets. And the 9-year-old girl has little doll accessories, including a passport, which I thought was very fancy for a doll to have a passport. And then the 11-year-old girl is all about skincare. So lip balms, sheet masks, all that stuff. So it's really fun for me, and it has created this tradition. And it's been about 9 years running. I started when they were really little. And I do have to stop and consider my capacity and their interests every year. So I think that gives me a presence about it, what's different this year about this tradition? What's my capacity? What do they really want? There is at least one moment every year where usually when I'm trying to shove something way too big into this tiny pocket, because I didn't make that good comparison, where I ask myself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this at all? Why am I trying to, put big things in tiny pockets? What is my reason, And so that helps me center. And then I think I could call the whole thing off. I could get a different style of calendar. That might be helpful. I could do anything that I want to. And that's where I've been this year, maybe due to First E's influence, right? Like, I could do anything that I choose to do. What am I going to choose to do is the bigger question. We have that choice. And so we can stop doing something altogether. We can take a year off and come back. We can maybe count down to Valentine's Day this year, or maybe our birthdays, or maybe some other holiday. And while most of my existential changes of holiday heart seem to be towards the Grinchier side, not all of them are. Like putting up the lights a little early. I feel like that was a little move in the spirited direction. The extremist in me thinks, wow, I could just keep, now that I can do whatever I want, you know, with existentialism blooming in my heart, I could just keep these lights up all year. And then I remember that there's this doctor's office that I go to on a regular basis that does keep the Christmas tree up all year. And they just change the decorations to meet the different seasons. Like in July, it has like flip-flops and like, flip-flops and sunglasses on it. And like in Halloween, there's ghosts on it. And every time I see it, when it's not Christmas time, I get really angry. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I was like, okay, we're not keeping them up all year. That doesn't make sense either. And so that's part of the point, though, right? That each of us has this opportunity, and each of us has our different ways about things, and having this societal pressure, or maybe even internal pressure, to make our holidays be a certain way, particularly if we're dealing with something this year that we're not used to dealing with, particularly if it's a hard thing. We should reevaluate maybe that pressure to really determine what our holiday will look like for us. And I was sort of thinking my way through this, and I stopped in my tracks because it occurred to me that maybe every single Christmas movie is about an existential crisis. Is that right? I think maybe it is. I have to do a longer, deeper investigation, but I was thinking about the Grinch, right? He's anti-Christmas. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He doesn't want anybody to have anything to do with it. He wants to steal all the joy. And then he encounters little Cindy Lou Who, and we have a congregation member here named Cindy Lou Who, and she's not here, but can send her a little love while we're talking about her counterpart. And he encounters little Cindy Lou Who, and she actually asks him for help. And in her asking him for help, he feels this great love for her, and he totally changes his mind as his heart grows those 3 sizes bigger, right? And so that's definitely an existential about face. So I was like, okay, check, Grinch. He's an existentialist and acts on his change of heart. And then I think about Home Alone. Y'all know that movie, Home Alone, where little Kevin McAllister is in his house. His whole big extended family is going to Paris the next day. He gets real mad the night before because nobody ever pays attention to him. He's the little one. And he kind of says something like, I wish I didn't even have a family. And then he goes to bed. And he wakes up in this big house. He assumes it's going to be full of people, but no one's there. And what he doesn't know is that the family has already left and gone to the airport. And he's, 7 probably, 7 or 8. And you think like, oh, you left a 7-year-old home alone. They would be real scared, or they would be crying. They would be worried. He's not worried at all. He's like, oh, my wish came true. I get to do all this stuff that nobody else let me do. I get to go through my brother's room. I get to eat cheese pizza, right? That's his big thing. No one ever orders him a plain cheese pizza, and that's what he wants. He can eat ice cream sundaes. And he does eventually come around to missing his family. So maybe not a complete existential change, but they also leave him. Now we know that they leave him again in the sequel, and they leave him again in the second sequel, and he always likes it. And he always stays true to himself and really lives into those moments when he has the opportunity to do what he wants to do, even as a little kid, which I think is some choice. He's not acting like little kids should. He's really acting on the impulses that he holds dear to his heart. But movies aren't real life, that's fair. And maybe I'll bump into someone tomorrow that makes me have this grand realization that I want to celebrate Christmas with all the spirit of Buddy the elf, who never gives up. He never changes. He's full of Christmas spirit, and he stays full of Christmas spirit no matter what happens. But I'm not feeling that way this year. There's really lots of reasons why each of us might benefit by sort of asking ourselves what would be the best way to go about things this year. Maybe you're grieving, maybe you're tired or sick, or just plainly more interested in spending your time a different way. And I'm just here this morning to tell you that that's okay, that you can celebrate or not celebrate however it is that you feel is best for you this year. And of course, we live in community, and I still did get those Advent calendars done. But finding and honoring yourself is as big a celebration as I can think of. And I thought we might spend a few minutes to explore our own thoughts this morning, inspired by Scrooge, or do you know the version of A Christmas Carol, Scrooged? It's from the late 80s with Bill Murray. Bill Murray I highly recommend it. It's my favorite one. Bill Murray is the Scrooge character, but I'm going to lead us through a little meditation based on the Christmas Carol sort of construct. So if you want to settle in, you might want to sit really intentionally, plant your feet. You might roll your shoulders here as you kind of get comfortable. Do some internal checking of the weather you're having today. Are you tired or excited or happy or something else? Just noticing what's going on there. And then noticing your breath. What qualities are there? Is it deep? Is it shallow? And then lengthening that breath, slow and steady in-breath through your nose. Exhaling that same way, really sinking in, turning your attention inward. We're going to start with that ghost of Christmas past. And so as they come, you might think of the holidays of your past and who was there, who had a really kind and gentle, spirited influence on the holidays of your past. Can you bring those moments forward? Just loving, safe moments surround you with that internal and external light of the season. Just noticing any single thing that your senses pick up. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Maybe there's some holiday food that is part of your experience. Taking a few intentional breaths here, just trying to soak up every moment of those beautiful moments. And then as if you're folding up a photograph that you can access later, sort of put that one away, clear your mind, and come to your present holidays. How do you feel right now? Right in this moment, maybe as a culmination of this year. What are you carrying? What is lighthearted in your experience right now? Is there something that you're carrying that does not serve you? Could you use this moment to notice that and leave it behind? What do you need that you don't have? Could you use this moment to recognize that you could use some fulfilling of some sort of nourishment or nurturance, so that with intention you can leave here today and seek it out for yourself? Letting those things take root. Taking those 3 intentional breaths to sort of settle into any realization that you may have come to. And again, sort of folding that information up, putting it in your theoretical pocket. And then moving to holidays future. What is your ideal holiday? What do you want to have the capacity to do? What does that holiday look like and feel like? Not because anyone else told you that's what it should look like or feel like, but because it's what fills your heart and your spirit with joy and love. What do you love about this season? And from this place where you stand, how can you identify that? And make it a focus. So that even if it's not this year, you can put the stepping stones in place to bring those things to life. Maybe not even waiting until next year, but bringing them forward in an everyday way. Taking those 3 breaths. Let that settle in, that light of the season. Your favorite foods, your favorite music, your favorite people to share with. Imagining that essence of good cheer washing over you. When you're ready, you can again fold that information up like a little shopping list and put it in your pocket for later. You can come back to the room, maybe taking a moment to notice again anything that has shifted. Could you attend to some tension? What's your internal weather? What have you learned? How do you feel? Not to judge that, but to take note. I'm grateful to have been able to share with all of you this morning, and I wish you just the happiest holiday of your own making. Thank you.